Good morning, students.
Good morning.
All of you, please switch on your videos. Okay. So in our last class, we were discussing about a bar magnet equivalent to an solenoid. So for that, we are making some derivations, starting with considering a solenoid with a length 2L. And then let I be the current is passing through the solenoid. It produces a magnetic field at the point B. So here we are deriving an expression for the magnetic field produced by a solenoid, and thereby we are making a relation, or we are going to prove that the bar magnet is equivalent to that of the solenoid. So let us continue with the derivation. So in order to prove that the bar magnet is an equivalent solenoid, here we are consider a solenoid of radius A. Here we are considering a solenoid with a radius A and the length 2L with the n number of turns per unit length. N number of turns per unit length mean capital N be the number of turns per unit length. N by L is equal to small n. So small n be the number of turns per unit length of this solenoid. And let I be a current that is flowing through the solenoid. Whenever the current I is passing through the solenoid, it produces a magnetic field. So for that, we are consider a point P along the axis of the solenoid. Here we are consider the point P along the axis of the solenoid from the center. And this point P is located at a distance of R from the center O of the solenoid. Now we want to calculate the magnetic field produced at this point P. But it is not possible to calculate the magnetic field produced at this point P through a single step. For that, we are consider a small segment on the solenoid with the length equal to dx. And this small segment dx is separated from a distance of x from the center of the solenoid. Okay. Now we can continue with the derivations. So from where we are starting the derivation, here the small segment is exactly similar to that of a circular coil. So here we are take the expression for magnetic field produced at a point P due to a circular coil. It is given by B is equal to mu 0 I A square divided by not A square, R square. I R square divided by 2 into R square plus R square the whole raised to 3 by 2. Or we can write for n number of turns, the equation becomes B is equal to mu 0 Ni R square divided by 2 into R square plus small r square the whole raised to 3 by 2. This equation is represents for circular coil, the magnetic field produced as a result of circular coil. But in S.
I think yesterday we used X.
Yes. Here we have X, right?
Yes.
R square plus X square the whole raised to 3 by 2. Here also R square plus X square the whole raised to 3 by 2. Okay. So this is the equation for the circular coil. The magnetic field produced by the circular coil at a point P is given by B is equal to mu 0 I R square divided by 2 into X square, R square plus X square the whole raised to 3 by 2. For n number of turns, the equation becomes B is equal to mu 0 n into I R square divided by 2 into R square plus X square the whole raised to 3 by 2. But in the present case, the radius of the solenoid R is changes into A. Similarly, the distance between the point P and that of the center of the solenoid. What is the distance between the point P and that of the center of the solenoid from the figure? So this is our figure. We want to calculate the distance from this point P to that of this X from here to here. The total distance is equal to R and the small distance is equal to X. Therefore, the distance from the point P to that of this small segment is taken as R minus X. Is it clear? Clear or not?
Yes, ma'am.
the distance. We want the distance from the point P to that of the small segment dx. The total distance from the center of the solenoid O to that of the point P is taken as R. But here we want the distance up to here, that is up to dx, the small element. So that here the small distance is x. In order to get the distance from the point P to that of the small segment dx, we are subtracting that distance, that is R minus x. So our equation becomes, this is already we were discussed in our last class, I am just to recall it. So R is equal to A, here the radius is A, and the distance x is changes to R minus x. So our equation become, the magnetic field is produced here due to a small segment. Okay, here the magnetic field is not produced by the entire solenoid. Instead of that, we are considering a small segment dx. So the magnetic field produced at the point P due to the small segment dx is given by a small magnetic field. So here we are deriving the magnetic field for the entire circular loop. But in the present case, we are considering the magnetic field produced at the point P due to a small segment dx. And that small segment dx is produces a small magnetic field. So it is given by dB. Instead of B, we can write dB. dB is equal to mu0 n into I into, instead of a square, here instead of r square, here we have the radius a square. So ni a square divided by 2 into, instead of r square, here we have a, and instead of this distance x, here we have r minus x the whole square. So make these changes in our equation. Mu0 ni a square into 2 into a square plus r minus x the whole square, the whole raised to 3 by 2. Okay. Now what is the next step? Here n, the capital N is represents number of turns. But here we consider the number of turns per length, unit length. We know that the number of turns per unit length, that is N by L. This L represents the entire length of the conductor. N by L is equal to small letter n. So my next question, does we consider the entire length of the solenoid here?
No.
Instead of that, here we are consider only a small length dx. So here we can write n divided by dx. N by dx is equal to small n, or which implies n is equal to small n into dx. Is this step is clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
This is a general equation in physics. Number of turns per length is gives the small letter n. But here we are not consider the entire length of the solenoid. Instead of that, we are consider a small segment with a length dx. So the number of turns per that segment, that is n by dx, is equal to small letter n. Or we can write n is equal to small n into dx. So our equation becomes dB is equal to mu0, instead of capital N, we can write n dx, because from this previous equation here we have capital N is equal to small n into dx. Substitute the value of n in this equation, it becomes mu0 n dx I into a square divided by 2 into a square plus r minus x the whole square, the whole raised to 3 by 2. Now, what is the next step? This is the magnetic field due to a small segment dx. So here we want to get the magnetic field produced at the point P by the entire solenoid. How we can obtain this magnetic field from this small segment, the total magnetic field? How we get the total magnetic field from this small
Integration.
by the process of integration. So in order to get the total magnetic field, here we are going to integrate this enter equation. So here we get integral dB is equal to integral, the limit is varies from minus L to plus L, mu 0 n dx I a square divided by 2 into a square plus r minus x the whole square, the all raised to 3 by 2. Do you have any doubt in regarding with this integration limit minus L to plus L? Is there any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So here the integration is varies from minus L to plus L mu 0 n dx I a square divided by 2 into a square plus r minus x the whole square into 3 by 2. So here this mu 0 n I a square 2. All these terms are constant. So we can take it outside. So it becomes, and what is integral dB? Integral of dB, integral of derivative of a function is
B.
B itself. So integral dB is B itself. So we get B is equal to, we can take mu 0 and anything else, mu 0 n I a square divided by 2. Mu 0 I n a square divided by 2 into integral minus L to plus L dx divided by 2 into a square plus r minus x the whole square the whole raised to 3 by 2. Okay. Now we are going to compare this distance. That is the next step. So again we can consider our figure.
Ma'am,
S.
we took the 2 to the other side, right?
Okay, sorry. So here we are going to consider the distance between the point and that of the radius. Okay. So here we are going to compare the distance. What about the distance A? Here A is the radius of the solenoid. When we are comparing this distance A with that of this R, which is greater?
R is great.
Here R is greater than A, or we can write here A is very, very less than that of the R. Similarly, we are comparing the distance X, that is the distance between the small segment dx and that of the center of the solenoid. Which distance is greater, R or X?
R.
Here also R is greater, or we can write X is very, very less than R. So our equation becomes, so we can neglect that terms in that equation because here the distance A and X is very, very less than that of the distance R. So our equation becomes, here A is very, very less than R. Similarly, X is very, very less than R. So we can neglect these terms A and X. So B is equal to mu 0 I n a square divided by 2 into integral minus L to plus L dx divided by this term neglect and this term is also neglect. So we have r square the whole raised to 3 by 2. So here we can cancel this. So it becomes B is equal to mu 0 n I a square divided by 2 into integral minus L to plus L dx divided by r cube. And here now this r cube is also constant. It has no relation with that of this x term, the small segment term. So we can take it outside. It becomes B is equal to mu 0 n I a square divided by 2r cube into integral minus L to plus L dx. Here again we have the integral of derivative of a function, that function itself. So it becomes B is equal to mu 0 n I a square divided by 2r cube into, when we are integrating this integral minus L to plus L into x is dx is x itself. So x, apply the limits from minus L to plus L. Okay, b is equal to mu 0 n I a square divided by 2r cube into x from minus L to plus L. So b is equal to mu 0 n I a square divided by 2r cube into, apply the upper limit first, that is L minus minus L. So it becomes L minus minus L. Here we have b is equal to mu 0 n I a square divided by 2r cube into L minus minus L. That is L plus L. What is L plus L?
2L.
2L. Okay. So mu 0 n I a square divided by 2r cube into 2L. Okay. Now again we have one more step here. We know that number of turns per unit length is equal to the number density small letter n. Number of turns per unit length is equal to small letter n. So here we have entire length of the solenoid. After integrating, we get the magnetic field produced at the point P due to the entire solenoid. And what is the total length of the solenoid? What is the total length of the solenoid here?
12.
2L. The total length of the solenoid is 2L. So the number of turns per the total length of the solenoid is becomes n by 2L is equal to small letter n. Okay. That is, from the general expression, we know that number of turns per unit length. How much the length of the solenoid? The number of turns per that much length of the solenoid is equal to n. So here we are consider a solenoid with a length equal to 2n. So we can write number of turns per the length of the solenoid. In the present case, the length of the solenoid is 2L. So that much length is consist of this n number of turns, that is equal to small letter n. So from this expression, we can write capital N is equal to n by 2L is equal to small n. Then capital N is equal to, just rearrange the equation. Here n by 2L, n 2L, small n 2L. Very good. So here capital N by 2L, that is number of turns per the length of the solenoid. In the present case, the length of the solenoid is 2L. That is equal to small n. So we can write capital N is equal to n into 2L. So in our numerator here we have n into 2L is there. Okay. So before that we can just rearrange the equation. Here we have b is equal to mu 0 I a square divided by 2r cube into n2L. What is this n2L represents? Capital N by 2L is equal to small n, which implies capital N is equal to small n into 2L. Okay, so we can replace this small n into 2L by capital N. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so our equation becomes b is equal to mu 0 I a square n divided by 2r cube. Mu 0 I a square n divided by 2r cube. Or we can write in our general form b is equal to mu 0 n I a square divided by 2r cube. We just modify or rearrange the equation, rearrange the terms present in the numerator. That's all. Now the next step, multiply pi in the numerator and the denominator. Multiply with, this is the next step, multiply with pi in the numerator and the denominator. So multiply with pi in the numerator and the denominator, it becomes B is equal to mu 0 n I a square divided by 2 into r cube into pi divided by pi. Or we can write B is equal to mu 0 n I pi a square. We just take this pi, we just modify or rearrange the terms. Pi a square divided by 2 pi r cube. Here we are multiply the pi with the numerator and the denominator. So we get B is equal to mu 0 n I a square divided by 2 r cube into pi divided by pi. So the equation become B is equal to mu 0 n I pi a square divided by 2 pi r cube. So my next question, what is this pi a square represents in the numerator? Pi into a square. What is a?
Radius.
Radius. Very good. So pi into radius square. That means pi r square. Here instead of radius, here we have a square. So what is pi a square represents?
Area of the circular.
Okay, here area of that segment or area of the solenoid. Very good. Area of that conductor. So here the term pi a square is pi into radius square. That is pi r square. Instead of r, here we are consider a. That's only the difference here. So pi a square is nothing. It is the area. So here the term pi a square is equal to area. Capital A. So equation becomes B is equal to mu 0 n I capital A divided by 2 pi r cube. B is equal to mu 0 n I A divided by 2 pi r cube. Again, here we have product of current into area. What is IA represents? IA.
Yeah.
M. This IA, the term that is the product of current into area is represents magnetic dipole moment M. So in our equation, here we have B is equal to mu 0 n I A divided by 2 r cube. So here IA is equal to, the product of current into area is equal to magnetic dipole moment M. Students, this is only for one number of turns. Okay. Suppose if we have two number of turns, then it becomes 2IA is equal to M. That is also represents our magnetic dipole moment. Magnetic dipole moment means product of current into area. So the current can be anything. It can be double, triple or anything. So if it is 3IA, product of current into area, it is again represents M. So suppose if we have n number of turns, we can write it is NIA. What is NIA represents? IA.
Magnetic dipole.
Again magnetic dipole moment M. Okay. So this is not only for the one case. If the number of turns is increases, then only it is represents the magnetic dipole moment M itself. For this is for only one number of turn. IA is equal to M. It represents only for one number of turn. Suppose if we have two number of turns, we can write 2IA. 2IA is equal to magnetic dipole moment M. Similarly, for 3IA, it is represents the magnetic dipole moment M. If we have n number of turns, then NIA is also represents the magnetic dipole moment M. So here in our equation, we have n number of turns are there, n number of turns. So we know that IA is equal to magnetic dipole moment M. Then for n number of turns, we can write capital NIA is equal to the magnetic dipole moment M. So our equation become B is equal to mu 0 instead of this term NIA. This NIA is represents magnetic dipole moment M. So B is equal to mu 0 small m divided by 2r cube. Yes.
So what about the pi?
Where? Okay. Denominator. Sorry. 2 pi r cube, right? 2 pi r cube. Thank you. Here I make some mistakes in order to check whether you are listen here or not. So B is equal to mu 0 m divided by 2 pi r cube. Okay. So we are going to multiply 2 in the numerator and the denominator. Okay. Multiply. So here we are going to multiply this 2 in the numerator and the denominator in order to compare this magnetic field produced in magnetics with that of the electric field in electrostatics. Okay. So multiply 2 in numerator and the denominator. So we get B is equal to mu 0 m divided by 2 pi r cube into 2 by 2. Or by rearranging all these terms, we get B is equal to mu 0 2m divided by 4 pi r cube. Mu 0 2m divided by 4 pi r cube. So this is the magnetic field produced at a point P due to this entire solenoid. B is equal to mu 0 2m divided by 4 pi r cube. Now we can compare this equation with that of the electric field in electrostatics. So for that we are needed to make some changes. Instead of this mu 0 by 4 pi, in electrostatics we have 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0. Okay, we are going to compare this equation with that of the electric field in electrostatics. In electrostatics, we are deriving an equation. The electric field produced at a point P along the axis of the electric dipole. That is what is we are going to compare. So instead of this mu 0 by 4 pi, we can write 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0. And in magnetic field, we have magnetic dipole moment M. Then what about the electric field? What is the electric dipole moment in electric field or electrostatics? In in magnetism, the magnetic dipole moment is M. In electrostatics, the magnetic dipole, the electric dipole moment is small letter P or P. So make this modification and try to write an equation for electric field in electrostatics. E is equal to, instead of mu 0 by 4 pi, in electrostatic here we have 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0. And the 2 is here. There is no change in 2. It's a constant. And instead of magnetic dipole moment, in electrostatics, we have electric dipole moment P. 2P divided by the distance is same. 2P divided by r cube. 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0, 2P divided by r cube. So this is the comparison between the electric field and that of the magnetic field. B is equal to mu 0 by 4 pi 2m divided by r cube. And in electrostatics, the electric field produced along the axial line is given by 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 2p divided by r cube. Okay, similarly, we can make some comparisons between that of the electric field and that of the magnetic field. I will show a table so you can find the comparison between the dipoles in electrostatic and that of the magnetism. So the physical quantity, the first physical quantity is a free space constant. The first one is free space constant. In electrostatic, we are representing it as 1 by epsilon 0. Can you recall what is epsilon 0 represents? Epsilon 0,
Permittivity of free space.
permittivity of free space in magnetism or electrostatics.
Electrostatics.
Electrostatics. But instead of, in magnetism, instead of this 1 by epsilon 0, we have mu 0. That is the permeability of free space in magnetism. So this is one comparison between electrostatic and that of the magnetism. The second one is dipole moment. Dipole moment. In electrostatic, we are using the term P. Dipole moment is represented by P, but in magnetism, we are represented it is M, small letter M. Now, this is the equation for axial field. This is the equation for axial field. That is what is we are deriving here. For electrostatic, the electric field along the axis is given by 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 2p divided by r cube. But in magnetism, it is given by mu 0 by 4 pi 2m divided by r cube. Similarly, we can write an equation for equatorial field. Here we are only need to study about the axial field. We can study about the equatorial field later. So the equation for equatorial field in electrostatic is minus 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 p by r cube. Minus 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 p by r cube. Similarly, we can write an expression for magnetism. For that, instead of this 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0, we change it into mu 0 by 4 pi. Instead of this P, we can change into magnetic dipole moment M. So the equation becomes minus mu 0 by 4 pi M divided by R cube. We will study this equation later in magnetism. So in electrostatics, the electric field along the equatorial field is given by minus 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 P by R cube. So from this, you just kept the idea in mind. If you know the concept of electric field, you can form the equation for magnetic field just to replace some terms in terms of the free space constant and that of the magnetic dipole moment and electric dipole moment. Just to rearrange the terms, you get the equation corresponding in magnetism. Now the torque in external field. The torque in external field is given by, in the case of electrostatic, it is PE cos theta. PE cos theta. Is it cos theta or sin theta?
Sin theta.
Sin theta. That is why here it is vector product. So the torque in external field due to electrostatic is given by PE sin theta. That is P cross E. But in magnetism, it is M cross B. That is, instead of P, here we have magnetic dipole moment M, and electric field E. Here in magnetism, we have magnetic field B. Then the last one is potential energy in electric field. That is what is we are going to discuss next. So you just kept in mind, the potential energy in external field is given by minus P dot E, minus PE cos theta in electrostatics. But in magnetism, it is minus MB cos theta, or we can write minus M dot B. That is, we are going to discuss in our next topic, potential energy in external field due to magnetism. So this is just a comparison between each physical quantity in electrostatic and magnetism. So in your text, yes.
Now it is P dot T or P cross E.
P dot E. P dot E. The potential energy, it is not the torque, it is the potential energy. The potential energy in electrostatic is given by minus PE cos theta, not sin theta, minus PE cos theta. So we can represent it as minus P dot E. In magnetism, this potential energy due to external field is given by minus MB cos theta, minus MB cos theta, or we can write minus M dot B. So in your textbook, page number 180, you can find the same table. The comparison, it is in the name of dipole analogy. That is, it is a comparison between the physical quantities present in electrostatics and magnetism. You just understand all these comparison. Here we are, instead of free space constant epsilon 0 in electrostatic, here we are using magnetism is mu 0. Similarly, in electrostatics, the electric dipole moment is P. In magnetism, it is M. And the corresponding equations in axial field and potential energy due to electrostatics and magnetism. I hope this is clear to you, right? Is there any doubt regarding with the derivations and all? Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
No.
Okay. Then what about Anthony? Absent.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are you ready to take the seminar?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now I invite you to present your seminar based on which topic? Lorentz force, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now you can start.
Good morning. Today I'm going to take a seminar on chapter for moving charges and magnetism. Posted experiment. Posted in 1820 found that the current and magnetism are closely related. He observed a deflection in magnetic needle when it brought close to a straight wire carrying conductor. When the current direction in the wire was reversed, the deflection in the needle also gets reversed. So instead of third for the first time that the current creates a magnetic field around it when it is in motion. Next one is magnetic field. It is space around a magnet or current carrying conductor around which magnetic effects can be experienced. Magnetic field at a point is denoted by B. It is a vector quantity and its SI unit is Tesla. It is a charges in motion. F equal to Q into V cross B. And the magnetic field at a point it is B equal to F by QV. Dimensional unit of magnetic field is Ns by Cm. The direction of magnetic field outside the magnet it is from north to south and inside it is from south to north. It also obeys superposition principle. Next one is Lorentz force. In Lorentz force, assume a point charge moving with a velocity in the presence of both electric field and magnetic field. Consider a charged particle moving with a velocity through a uniform electric field and magnetic field. Then it will experience an electric force and a magnetic force. The force on charged particle due to electric field is F equal to QV and force on charged particle due to magnetic field is F equal to Q into V cross B. Therefore, the net force acting on a given charge is a sum of forces due to electric field and magnetic field. Therefore, F equal to QE plus Q into V cross B. By taking Q as common, F equal to Q into E plus V cross B. Lorentz force depends on charge of the particle, velocity, and the magnetic field. Force on a negative charge is opposite to that on a positive charge. The magnetic force Q includes a vector product of velocity and magnetic field. Vector products make the force due to magnetic field become zero if velocity and magnetic field are parallel or anti-parallel. The magnetic force is zero if the charge is not moving. Only a moving charge feels the magnetic force. I hope this topic is clear for everyone. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Anthony. It's a nice presentation. Now, students, you have any doubt, you can ask and clarify it with Anthony. Regarding with the same topic, if you have any doubt, you can ask your doubts. No doubts. So Anthony, you can ask 2 or 3 questions to your friends now.
Yes, yes. What is Lorentz force?
To whom?
Aditya.
It's a combined force acting on a particle due to electric field and magnetic field.
Is it right, Anthony?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then next question.
Next one. List some properties of magnetic field. Characteristic. Gayatri, madam.
It is a vector quantity.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Is it over?
Over. Not over.
Okay.
2 more properties.
Okay, then. To whom?
Vidur. Vidur.
Vidur.
It's a scientist Tesla.
Okay, ma'am. That's all.
Okay, then thank you. So here, Anthony present the topic regarding with the Lorentz force. So when a charged particle is moving through an electric field and a magnetic field, it experiences a force due to the electric field and magnetic field. And what is the force experienced by the charged particle due to the presence of electric field, Anthony? Anthony, are you there? What is the force experienced by the charged particle due to electric field?
Electric force.
And what is that equation? What is that force, electric force acting on the charged particle?
QV.
QE. And it is also experience a force due to magnetic field, and that force is given by Q into V cross V. So the total or the net force acting on the charged particle is a combined force due to electric field and magnetic field. So F is equal to QE plus Q into V cross V. We can take this Q outside. So the left term, what is the final equation representing the Lorentz force? Here, please here. Dia. The final expression representing the Lorentz force.
QE into E into V cross V.
Q A into V cross V.
QE into V cross V.
Okay, Q into V cross V. Okay. So I hope this topic is clear to you, right? Okay, so we have one more period. So Vidur, you can take the similar during that time. Okay. So now let me take your attendance.